It's tempting to say that justice was done on Friday when the verdict in the Kyle Rittenhouse trial was returned and Kyle was found not guilty on all counts. It was certainly a just verdict, the right verdict, but we can't say that justice was done unless and until all of the people responsible for this political show trial are held accountable. The prosecutor should be disbarred. The media who smeared Kyle as a white supremacist serial killer should be sued into bankruptcy. Their lives should be ruined. They should suffer. We should want them to suffer for it because that's justice. And that still would not even the score. It wouldn't set everything right because they have taken something from Kyle Rittenhouse that he can never get back. Namely, his entire normal life, the life he ought to have lived, is gone. He is free as he should be, but he'll never really be free from the slander and defamation. That's what makes slander and defamation so insidious. He'll have to walk around with the scarlet R, racist, on his head forever because that's the reality that the media has constructed for him. And this is why they should pay and pay dearly. It's not a no harm, no foul situation. They have done immense harm to Kyle Rittenhouse and done it on purpose with malice in their hearts. And they aren't done. After the verdict was read on Friday, the demons in the corporate media convulsed and screamed and vomited like a scene straight out of The Exorcist. Watching MSNBC on Friday, as I did for a couple of hours, purely for the entertainment, I half expected to see someone's head do a 360-degree turn. They were apoplectic in their demonic rage, and they were not prepared to surrender their narrative or back away from it even an inch. Many examples, of course, we could play for you. You've probably seen a lot of them, but we'll settle on just a couple. First, here's one of the hobgoblins on MSNBC, Tiffany Cross, having a rather ghoulish temper tantrum. Watch.
I find these people disgusting, Ellie. I'm disgusted at what I'm seeing. It's not just this trial, it's other trials. But this in particular, the fact that white supremacists roam the halls of Congress freely and celebrate this little murderous white supremacist, and the fact that he gets to walk the streets freely, it lets you know these people have access to instituting laws. They represent the legislative branch of this country. What are we to make of that?
Welcome to the modern Republican Party. This is what these people want, and this is what a majority of white people vote for, right? When I say that a majority of white people are in favor of this kind of violence, it is because a majority of white people consistently vote Republican. Since the passage of the Civil Rights Act, a majority of white people have voted Republican, right? So, this is the party that they're supporting. A majority of white people pick judges like Bruce Schrader, the judge in the Kyle Rittenhouse case. A majority of white people do not support policies that would unpack and unroll and reform this system of justice. This is what they want. Matt Gaetz is giving the white folks what they want. Look at it. Look at yourselves. It's gross. But until a majority of you stop voting for this, this will keep happening.
I may have misheard it, but did he snort like a pig there? I don't know. If it oinks like a pig, you know what they say. Little murderous white supremacist is what Kyle Rittenhouse is called there after the verdict. He was found not guilty of murder. And he's not a white supremacist. There was never any reason to think that he was a white supremacist. There's never been even one single slight shred of evidence that he's a white supremacist. He shot 3 white people in self-defense, as the court of law just declared. By the way, a majority of white people are in favor of this kind of violence. I don't know where he's getting this from, but I'll tell you as one white person, yeah, you're damn right. I am in favor of violence in self-defense where you're killing a child rapist who's trying to kill you. I'm in favor of that violence all day, every day. But MSNBC will stick with the fantasy scenario it constructed early on. The people at MSNBC and across the corporate media and the American left, they arrived at a conclusion about the Rittenhouse case within 3 minutes of the last shot being fired, and they have not wavered from it, even the smallest bit, since that initial moment. That's because the truth doesn't matter at all. We'll get back to that point in a moment. But first, here's another example, somehow even more delusional. This is someone named Amber Ruffin, who has some kind of show on MSNBC or Peacock or whatever. Here she is.
You guys, because I have my own show, I have a responsibility to say things that people need to know that aren't being said. It's a cool opportunity that I don't take lightly. There are very big, obvious truths that no one wants to say on TV, but I will. Now, just a few minutes before we started taping this show, Kyle Rittenhouse, the man accused of shooting 3 people during a Black Lives Matter protest, was declared not guilty on all charges. So, I can't believe I have to say this, but It's not okay for a man to grab a rifle, travel across state lines, and shoot 3 people and then walk free. It's not okay for the judicial system to be blatantly and obviously stacked against people of color. It's not okay for there to be an entirely different set of rules for white people.
State lines. I mean, I get really emotional about state lines also. You travel across state lines. In fact, I'm worried now, after the Rittenhouse verdict, that this will set a precedent, and now people will feel entitled to just cross state lines whenever they want. I'm worried that, slippery slope situation, that next thing you know, we're going to have a whole system of roads set up, maybe like an interstate highway system they might build where people just cross state lines whenever they want. That's what I'm worried about. By the way, you know how Kyle Rittenhouse was accused of crocodile tears because he had an emotional breakdown while on trial trying to save his life. Those were not crocodile tears. If you want to know what crocodile tears look like, it's just what you just saw there. Amber Ruffin. That's what fake crying looks like. And literally every single thing she said is wrong. Every word. Starting with the pretense that what she said there was somehow bold and brave and something that nobody else is willing to say. She simply repeated the same thing that everyone in corporate media is saying and has said 1,000,000 times already, and yet pretends that this requires courage. That nobody's going to say this except the last 7 million people you heard say it. So I'll say it. No, courage and shamelessness are not the same, Amber, though I realize this distinction is often lost on the left. She also says that he grabbed a rifle and crossed state lines and murdered people. None of that is true. We know that it's not true. The facts are incontrovertibly against her, but what does she care? As for the justice system being stacked against people of color, that seems an odd claim given that nobody involved in this case was a person of color. Black people have nothing to do with this case. I understand that black supremacists might struggle to understand that point, but it has nothing to do. This was a case involving white people. Is it true that only white murder defendants get off on self-defense claims? Well, no. In fact, on the very same day, on Friday, at almost the exact same time that Kyle Rittenhouse was acquitted of his murder charges on the basis of self-defense, a man down in Florida, Andrew Coffey, was also found not guilty of murder and attempted murder on the grounds of self-defense after shooting at a SWAT team that came into his house unannounced. That acquittal was again on the same day. Andrew Coffey is black. On the same day. He's not alone. Amy Swearer, a legal fellow at Heritage, has a great thread on Twitter documenting many recent cases of black defendants being acquitted of murder charges on the grounds of self-defense. It happens all the time. It is very, very common. The media might not tell you about it, but it happens. There is simply no evidence at all, no reason to believe at all that Kyle Rittenhouse would have been convicted if he was black. There is no evidence at all, no reason to believe at all that self-defense laws disproportionately help white people. There is no data to back that up. None. In fact, the opposite is probably the case. The Daily Caller ran an analysis back in 2013 in Florida to see who benefits the most from the state's stand your ground law. And they discovered that black people are disproportionate beneficiaries of that law. Okay, a black person in Florida is more likely to be acquitted on self-defense than a white person. And there's plenty of reason to believe that this trend holds true across the nation. But that won't stop the narrative or even slow it down. Just as the left has not held itself back from anointing Joseph Rosenbaum and Anthony Huber martyrs for the case. Even as a court of law just effectively found them both to be attempted murderers. I mean, that's the implication here. If it was self-defense on Rittenhouse's side, then it was attempted murder on their side. And that's the most flattering thing on their resumes. Rosenbaum, as you know from the show, was a serial child rapist, a pedophile sodomite who anally raped young boys. Yet protesters took to the street after the verdict and chanted Rosenbaum's name. Listen to this.
Say his name!
Joseph Rosenbaum!
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 Say his name, Joseph Rosenbaum. That's almost as sickening as the tributes that have poured in from Hollywood. Actor Pedro Pascal tweeted, Joseph Rosenbaum, 36, and Anthony Huber, 27, murdered August 25th, 2020. Rest in peace. Now, the best I can say about that statement is that it's a bit optimistic. Rosenbaum, a serial child rapist who died while trying to kill a teenage boy, is almost certainly burning in hell. You know, that say his name, Joseph Rosenbaum, we can imagine the legions in hell. That's what greeted Rosenbaum as he was walking down the hallway. God's forgiveness, of course, knows no bounds. But considering his last moment on earth was spent trying to murder a teenager, it seems unlikely that he had any sort of last-minute repentance or conversion. Meanwhile, Mark Ruffalo tweeted, quote, "We come together to mourn the lives lost to the same racist system that devalues black lives and devalued the lives of Anthony and JoJo. Hashtag reimagine Kenosha." Yes, that's a major Hollywood actor using a cutesy pet name for a serial child rapist. Talk about saying the quiet part out loud. I mean, these Hollywood perverts are so used to hanging out with child molesters and rapists that they feel bonds of affection even with the rapists they've never met. Though perhaps I assume too much. For all I know, Rosenbaum and Ruffalo went to the same parties. Who knows? Either way, add Rosenbaum to the list of recent heroes and martyrs of the left. It's a list that includes George Floyd, a man who forced his way into a woman's home and robbed her at gunpoint; Jacob Blake, a violent felon and alleged rapist and woman abuser who assaulted police, brandished a knife, got shot while trying to steal a car and kidnap children; Rayshard Brooks, a felon who passed out drunk in a fast food drive-through lane, then got himself shot while fighting with the cops and stealing their taser; Dante Wright, a wanted criminal who sexually assaulted a woman and robbed her at gunpoint. Now to this pantheon, this Mount Rushmore of deviants and demons, we can add Joseph Rosenbaum, child molester and rapist. These are the men that the left bids us to celebrate and admire. The absolute worst sorts of people human society has to offer. The dregs of humanity. The bottom of the barrel. These are meant to be our martyrs. So what's going on here? Between the celebration of Joseph Rosenbaum, all of the lies told about Kyle Rittenhouse, what we have to understand is that the left is not just building a narrative, though they are doing that. But more so, they're creating an entire new reality. Their ultimate goal is to construct an alternate universe. You know, I give a talk on college campuses called The War on Reality about the left's efforts to redefine life, marriage, and gender. And the title is not hyperbole. I mean, they have waged war on reality itself, truth itself. And as I argue in the talk, the three main pillars of this effort, the three primary modes of attack, are to redefine these fundamental elements of human civilization. Their battle plan has been such a success thus far that many people in our society today will look you in the eyes and flatly deny that any such thing as truth or objective reality exists. The upshot is that with something like the Rittenhouse verdict, it's fruitless to argue that the left's narrative isn't true or that it contradicts the facts. They know that and they don't care. Or I should say, contradicting the facts is the whole point. Telling a leftist that their claims about some event are untrue, it's like reading a sci-fi novel and objecting that none of that happened in real life. It's a fantasy. Well, yeah, that's the point. The only difference between the sci-fi novel and the claims made by the leftist is that the fictional reality in the book is supposed to be contained only in the book. For the leftist, we're all meant to live in his fictional reality. We're supposed to pretend that it's real. A world governed by self-identity and emotional whim, a reality that is malleable, which changes to accommodate political and ideological needs. That's the objective. That's what's at stake. And it's time we understand that. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and share it with all your friends.